What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Thank God the international breaks are over. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first Real Madrid goal came as a result of this tackle, which was given as a penalty. At first, when I was watching the match live, I actually thought that maybe it wasn't a penalty. I thought that there wasn't enough contact. Upon watching the replay, it is still really hard to decide whether or not this should have been a penalty, but what I will say is that the entanglement of the legs, so to speak, was definitely initiated by the Leganes player. He completely misjudges the direction of the ball. At a goal less, the ball kind of rolled past his body, and the Leganes player turned and kind of tangled his legs. Maybe Gula did go down easily, but definitely there was contact, and I think it's fair if the ref decides that there was enough to give it a penalty. We've actually gotten a lot of penalties this season, which is quite weird, but I wouldn't say that this one was foul play, or I wouldn't say that there was some scandal going on. Definitely, this is a penalty that I could have seen given. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next goal. Okay, so for the goal scored by Leganes, the goal actually came very quickly after we just scored. Um, it was just a simple lack of concentration, because when you score a goal, sometimes you kind of get a bit relaxed, and the Leganes team definitely took advantage of that. So you see this Leganes player with the ball here. We have literally only two people in midfield anywhere near the ball. We still have more players than them in this situation, so you would think that there is no real danger on. But what's impressive is how quickly the Leganes player were able to get this ball and exploit the vast amount of space here. And this is a kind of situation where the team is kind of half-heartedly like pressing. We're very high up the pitch. There's a big gap. Like look at this amount of space here that any player can get into. This isn't a very compact shape for Real Madrid in this situation. There's a lot of gaps. There's a big gap here if a player was to run into. There's a big gap here for a long diagonal. Um, when you're defending, your midfield needs to drop back, and you need to become more compact than this. And the Leganes team were able to take advantage. So this player here makes a run outside of Frank Garcia, and look at the amount of space for this other player to play the ball into. And once this player gets into space here, this player here has a huge amount of space in here that he could run into, and in this situation you basically have a 2v2, which is not ideal for the defending team. So when that ball gets played through, Rudiger was caught a bit high off the pitch, and Rudiger's form has been a little bit hit and miss this season, and you can see why. He keeps getting himself caught in this kind of situations where he keeps on basically leaving huge gaps of space in the center of the defense. And I can understand maybe why he might have done that is because he's trying to press and win the ball high off the pitch, especially because the midfield isn't back, and they left a big gap. But as a centre back, your first job and your first duty is to protect your goal. If the midfielders are not pressing, that's their job. That's on them. But leaving this kind of a big gap here as a centre back is just unforgivable, and Rudiger's done that many times this season. So this player plays a nice cut back. The Leganes player actually kind of scuffs the shot, and the ball goes into this player here. Frank Garcia basically chased this player back, and by doing that, he ends up playing everyone offside, and this player takes a chance for an easy goal. In my opinion, this goal was definitely due to poor defending, because there was just a lack of concentration from the Real Madrid team just after going ahead. Players kind of switched off, and they forgot that they still need to come back and press and mark. The shape was very wrong. There was just a big gap between the midfield and defense, and it was exploited very well by the Leganes team. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next goal. Okay, so in the highlights, it doesn't actually show, but this goal actually started with Brahim actually losing the ball high off the pitch. In doing so, he gave the Leganes team a chance of a quick counter attack. Now, the ball is switched out to the winger, and when he gets the ball, he does a lovely, nice little bit of skill to get past Raul Asensio here. And this was a very, very obvious thing that kept happening all game. It's just that our midfielders just You know, Camavinga put in a few good tackles at the start of the game, but you know he was falling a lot as well. But how do you have a player in the box here with so much space? Again, I know we lost the ball and you know this caused the counter attack, but we just have 3v2 in the box here, and you know this Asensio is one-on-one with this player, so he doesn't really count. And you know, Modric really needs to be getting into this space, and maybe he's just starting to show his age a little bit as well, because this is just the kind of thing that you should know at this top level. And Modric, as a 5, 6 time Champions League winner, you know, he should know this already. And due to nobody picking up that number 10, giving him acres of space in the box, the Leganes player plays a nice cut back to him, giving him a very easy shot on goal. This was definitely, again, very poor defending, but I will say that the skill by the Leganes player to chip the ball over Raul Asensio in the box in such a tight space, that skill was absolutely wonderful. And you know, the pass back, the cut back was also sublime, because you know he could have panicked, he could have rushed it, but this was a goal that was definitely a gift to them. You know, this was a goal that could have been avoided, because number one, Brahim lost the ball, then he didn't make the effort to come back and press, and also Modric and Camavinga failed to spot a very, very big danger in the box. Okay, so let's move on to the next goal. So this goal started with Lucas receiving the ball from here. In this situation, you know, the Leganes team are very deep. There's lots of players back, you know, marking the space, and there's very little space for players to work with. But you can just see that Aragula has drifted into space here, and he has acres of space, even though there's a lot of Leganes shirt back. So the ball was played into Goller. He does a nice dummy and leaves the ball for Mbappe. In this space, you can see that the Leganes team is really, really deep, and there's very, very little space to work with. Every Leganes player kind of has a man, so you know it's very hard to see where the chance was going to come from. And this so far is actually quite good defending from the Leganes team. So Mbappe passes the ball out to Fran Garcia, and I don't think that was actually his intention. I think he was trying to pass to Bellingham, but the ball was just a bit too quick for Bellingham. So when Fran gets this ball again, the Leganes team are in really good positioning. Every single player is marked. Maybe this player could be a little bit tighter to Bellingham, but apart from that, you know, I'd say they're doing everything right defensively so far. So Bellingham manages to get a little bit of free space here, and you know it's hard to see what's going to happen because there's so many Leganes bodies back. But these are the kind of positions where the top players need to get into. And just this little bit of space, you know, he's just able to get the ball and he's able to make something happen. So when the ball comes into Bellingham, you know, it takes a very nice touch. It's very important that this ball is kept close to his body, because any bad touch in this situation and you're going to lose the ball, because there's just so many players crowded around you. So he gets the shot off, the keeper makes a very nice save, and the quickest player to react to the ball is Brahim. After the shot, you can see how many Leganes players get eliminated from this. These players are also just kind of watching, you know, they're thinking maybe the ball's going to go out, but as a defender, you know, you need to be proactive, you need to always be ready in case that the ball doesn't go out, and you need to be able to react to the ball quickly. Now, Brahim does get that shot off, and it was a lovely goal line clearance by this defender here. And after he does this, again, you just see that this player is just watching, this player is just watching. The ball does come back off the crossbar, so I guess it is a bit difficult, but you need to be very proactive as a defender. Like Bellingham is all the way out here, and how he manages to beat these two players to the ball is beyond me. So in my opinion, this goal was actually mostly due to wonderful play. You know, the patience shown by the Real Madrid players to just move the ball around and to be able to find a little bit of space is very good. Now, even though the goal didn't come from the initial opportunity from Bellingham, and in the end the goal did kind of end up being a bit scruffy, the initial play to open up the space is just good team play. Also, the initial defending by the Leganes player was very good. You know, they were very, very tight, very compact. It was very hard to get a bit of space. After the initial shot from Bellingham, the defenders were a bit slow to react to the opportunities that came after, and that's what led to the goal. Okay, so we're going to move on to the final goal. So the final goal actually came from a free kick in this situation. The Leganes team has a 4-man wall with one player lying down behind the wall, and this player, I don't know what he's doing. Valverde isn't even anywhere close to making a run here, so this player could easily have become part of this wall to have a 5-man wall. And you can see that this is probably something that maybe they probably should have done in a bit. So at first Mbappe does a fake shot. You can see the Leganes players kind of move forward as if they're going to run towards the ball, and maybe this is what has sparked off something in Mbappe's mind. And with top players, like the smallest things can actually give them ideas. And when Mbappe passes the ball to Fran here and he basically touches it back to him, the Leganes wall doesn't stay compact. They run towards the ball, but they don't run towards the ball as a unit, because this free kick wasn't particularly hit with the most precision ever, but because there was a big gap in the wall, Mbappe was able to play that ball through the gap and he catches the keeper off guard. So when that free kick is struck, look at the separation between this player and this player, and that ball goes through this gap here. So you really want to be keeping your wall together when you're defending a free kick, otherwise there's no point in having a wall at all. The whole point of the wall is so that the ball has to actually go over the wall, and if the wall doesn't do its job as a wall, this is what happens. The striker is able to put the ball through the wall and score a pretty easy goal in the end of the day. So that's my analysis. Please tell me if there's any things that you think I missed. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.